came out recently where he had like some social media thing that, and I didn't see what
Well,
it was,
so
but
he said that he played high school football, but he said that there's maybe too much toxic masculinity in football. And then that led to Republicans saying that he hates America, he hates football. Well, no, he played. He was captain of his high school team. Um, it's all kind of trivia and bullshit at this point, but really, that's all the Republicans have to run on because their performance for the past year and a half has been bad. They haven't delivered on anything they promised,
yeah.
except maybe, shutting down the southern border. Besides that, inflation up, prices up, gas up, jobs down. Um, so they yell about trans issues. They yell about hating America and socialism and not being masculine enough. It's a bunch of bullshit.
It sounds like a whole lot of BS.
So, in Dr. Sharif, is masculinity like a national priority in Bangladesh?
Uh, yes. Right now we have a massive challenge with energy.
Hmm.
We don't have gas for cooking. We have load shedding, like for this electricity supplies and all of the things. And I think that it take a lot of time because still this Middle East is not stable at all. So for these issues, there are three components is happening. Number one, our manufacturing industry is heavily affected by the lack of energy. So they cannot continue their operation properly. Same way, many of the people, they are losing job because of this manufacturing industry cannot making money because lack of energy. Secondly, what I'm observing, like in our countries, in every house, they have a problem with the gas, problem with electricity. Outside Dhaka, I'm observing many people are go for a lot of discussions and other things for this energy related problem. Third things, when a country has, especially country like Bangladesh has unemployment problem, economic problem, energy related problem, that time crime also increase, right? So honestly speaking, prostitutions, hijackings, robberies, and many things increase. Even young peoples, they also face a lot of challenge. So how I see this challenge, it's look like a massive. It's look like it will create a negative impact for Bangladesh. Um, I don't know what will happen. We have to wait and see what will happen. Yeah. Thank you.
That makes sense. I see that the case of Luigi Mangione is
Hold
expected
on, hold on.
to.
No, wait. I want to finish with. So I looked it up, and you get more of your energy in Bangladesh through the Strait of Hormuz. You get liquefied, not just crude oil and gas, and but also LNG liquefied. It all comes through the Strait of Hormuz, and so you're getting screwed up by this war even more than the U.S. is. So
Yes, and Bangladesh also joined with this alignment with Saudi Arabia,
Mhm.
right? So US and Saudi Arabia alignment, Bangladesh joined with our defense and so on. So it's look like it's very complex and very challenging situation right now, specifically for energy and economics. Yeah.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense and everything like that. I did see that Trump has asked the Supreme Court to allow the White House ballroom construction to continue. So, concerned about Trump's ballroom project, Senate Democrats are seeking an audit. So, a concrete frame and four towering walls. Trump's ballroom has been blocked by bills covered, but apparently it's taking shape. So we'll see what there's going because they're definitely saying the costs are rising and what we know about the secret underground bunker. So apparently there's a secret underground bunker there as well.
okay.
And it looks like Rich LaFella Punk faces justice after kicking a helpless sea lion in a viral attack. So apparently, this is something going on. I guess La Jolla is in California, if I remember correctly, and everything like that. But a man was caught on a video kicking a sea lion, and he pleaded guilty, so he's going to face federal time because apparently that's a federal crime to kick a sea lion and everything like that.
Yeah, some idiot decided to. Okay, so. So a couple of days ago, we got inflation numbers for the month of, I think, 3.4% for July. Today, we've got retail sales down by 0.6%, a 0.5% more than forecast. Well, even no, 0.7% lower than they expected retail to go up by 0.1%. Instead, they fell by 0.6%. So consumers are less willing to spend, less optimistic. And so one more thing that makes the economy look not great.
Yep. And I guess the military's got something to do in D.C. because a World War II memorial on National Mall was vandalized with graffiti and bubbles. So apparently they were, I don't know how you vandalize something with bubbles, but apparently they did that and everything like that. And the investigation is underway after the vandalism and the bubbles were found at D.C.'s World War II memorial. And it looks like it was also had some pink spray paint and the fountain overflowing with bubbles. So we'll find out what they were protesting and what was going on in that situation. But yeah, apparently there was some vandalism, so the National Guard has some work to do. And the Kennedy Center Board votes on renovations and the Donald Trump name. So Kennedy Center Board restores Trump's name, testing the judge because the judge actually said that he had to get rid of the name.
So the judge said that you can't put Trump's name on the Kennedy Center, that by law, it's a memorial for our assassinated President Kennedy, and you can't add somebody else's name by law. Right. And Trump says he wants to spend his board, which is all hand-picked jackasses like Laura Ingraham off of Fox News. He got rid of the old board and just replaced it with his hand-picked people. They want to spend $250 million shutting it down for 2 years and renovating it. Except that 7 years ago, in 2019, they spent $250 million remodeling and renovating it. So you don't need to do that after 7 years. This is pure spitefulness and pure Trump wanting to piss on everything in Washington, D.C. to put his mark on everything. It's a waste of money. I'm sure, it'll be a little nicer, but they just remodeled it and fixed it up in 2019. It's a massive waste of money to feed Trump's ego.
And I know that Sasha's a big fan of the symphony, and apparently the National Symphony is in crisis because of the things that are going on with the Kennedy Center and not being able to perform and having this break and everything like that. So it looks like they are in serious crisis and everything like that. And apparently a judge dismissed Trump administration lawsuit alleging anti-Semitism at Harvard. So the Trump administration's anti-Semitism lawsuit against Harvard was dismissed by a federal judge. So another case that he has lost and everything like that. So definitely we'll see how this all plays out.
That was just one other way for Trump to fuck with universities, saying that they were being mean to Jewish students, which is mostly garbage. Because if you look at the percent of Jewish students at like Columbia, Harvard, UCLA, Jewish people are only 2% of the U.S. population. And they're probably 20% of the student body at the Ivies. So it's just Trump like grabbing at whatever bullshit he can to get revenge on things he doesn't like, such as universities.
Well, apparently he also wants to get revenge at China because the White House is apparently exposing something they're calling the transshipment scam costing the U.S. up to $26 billion. So Trump's White House says China avoids billions in tariffs by rerouting goods. I know you were talking about that with the things that you bought from Temu and everything, but apparently India is also in the U.S. crossfires again as well. So the White House reports cites countries enabling China's tariff evasion. So I think that they're saying that India is helping them in that regard. So it looks like he's going after China and India two of the major Asian powers and everything like that. So what's our take on this notion of him going after
Well,
China and
Sasha
India?
can talk about tariffs in a second, but I got to say that tariffs do not help an economy. The Great Depression didn't have to be the Great Depression, except that one of the things they tried after the Depression started in 1929 was the Smoot-Hawley tariffs, which absolutely wrecked not just the US economy, but contributed to the whole world's economy turning to crap. And job growth in the US is down 88% since Trump introduced tariffs back in March of last year.
Yeah.
There is a big problem with the tariffs is that, first of all, they've already been recognized by court illegal, okay? And U.S. Treasury had to return $100 billion of tariffs which were charged against the law, illegally, in other words. So this is a big problem here. And never mind that they are not working economically, they're just destructive to your own economy and the economies of other countries, but they're just simply put illegal. So why Trump is doing something what is illegal and has been recognized by court illegal, and besides it's only supposedly the Congress supposed to levy the tariffs on other countries in exceptional cases, but not the president. So it's all wrong, like everything with Trump. Everything is wrong, and there has to be a punishment one day, and hopefully the day is coming soon.
However, tariffs function as a tax. Now, it turns out consumers kind of pay it via higher prices. But that money goes to the U.S. To spend on stuff the way tax money does, except no, in this case, it just causes consumers to get ripped off because the $128 billion that we got through tariffs that could have been used to pay for government stuff has been ruled illegal and has been returned to corporations which have just taken it to reduce their bottom line and haven't returned any of that money to consumers. Apple got $2.2 billion back from the government. People who bought Apple products that were more expensive because of the tariffs do not get any refund. So the government doesn't get income, and American citizens don't get money back. So the only beneficiary is big corporations. So it's crap. And also we're back under tariffs again because Trump, having been ruled illegal for his first set of tariffs, came up with a different bullshit reason for imposing tariffs, which is that it's a way to fight slave labor, which is again going to get shot down in the courts. And again, the U.S. is going to have to return tens of billions of dollars.
Well, there's a group of folks that are Trump allies, at least some of them are, and that's the gun owners. And apparently they've got a ruling that did go in their favor. So the Justice Department leaves in place rulings that deregulates silencers, shotguns, and certain rifles. So it looks like they have reversed the decades-old restrictions and everything like that. So it looks like you can actually get some of these guns that can be very dangerous and everything like that. So
you can buy silencers now, where I think there were plenty of states and municipalities where you couldn't buy silencers. Right. And there's been a lot of discussion about this. And silencers don't really silence. They don't make guns silent. They make them a little less noisy, but people around you are still going to know you fired a gun. What they do is they make, if guns give you a boner, a gun with a silencer gives you even more of a boner because it looks extra cool. But it's mostly bullshit. Also, even if a silencer does work, it only works for a couple shots after they degrade very fast.
Yeah, that's very much true and everything like that. So definitely that. Oh, it looks like there's a tropical storm in Hawaii that folks are talking about as well. So that's one of the news stories that I saw. What's going on with this USS Abraham Lincoln? Have you been following that? Because it looks like the new aircraft carrier is headed to the Mideast after reports of issue on the long deployed Abraham Lincoln. So I guess they're going to let
So
folks.
they've been out at sea for more than 250 days, which I think sets a record, which is also ridiculous since we're not at total war, right? World War II was total war,
Right.
and people were expected to make insane sacrifices to save the world. We're not saving the world. We're dicking around with Iran, putting people at sea for more than 2/3 of it. And ships don't, battleships, carriers don't really have windows, right?
Mhm.
So these people, the sailors are cooped up. They can't, just kind of underground, just in these terrible spaces for 250 days. It's hard to get them, since they're at sea, fresh stuff. They don't have milk. By the time they get meat to them, sometimes the meat is bad. The toilets don't work. Several people have thrown themselves overboard out of despair. It's a bullshit way to treat America's military.
Yeah, it sounds like it. And speaking of BS and all along those lines, but it's not really.
Sasha's got a point on this.
Yes, I got one.
I just wanted to understand why the military that cannot defeat Iran, and for that matter, any other country that ever had fight with in the last 80 years, why do they deserve 5-star hotel experience? They should get whatever is available. And because of the Pentagon is now increasing its budget to $1.5 trillion, and they're serving themselves steak and lobster dinners, I really don't understand why they cannot provide better conditions for their people. I really don't. It's a corruption 101. That's all.
Well, part of it is logistic. It's bad decision making at the top that has this aircraft carrier at sea for more than 8 months, and it's wherever it is at sea, it's far enough away from supply sources of fresh fruit and meat and milk.
Really, for $1.5 trillion, you should have A1 logistics. For this money, how much money you need to have a normal logistic? What, $5 trillion, $55 trillion? What do you need? Tell me, what do you need to provide a normal logistic, not super logistic, just a normal logistic?
I don't know. Wherever they are, somewhere in the Arabian Sea, right. Somehow it's far enough from shore that they can't get. They buy the fruit at some market in Abu Dhabi, and they can't get it. It's too far away to somehow ship it to the sailors on this aircraft carrier in time for it not to be rotten.
Yeah.
So get your things, pack your things, and go home. That's the message. That's all what there is to it.
It sounds like it and everything like that. Hey, the Pope is in the news again. So, Rick, apparently the Pope, and I'll be interested to hear what other religious leaders have to say, is saying that Catholics must that Sunday Mass must form Catholics through reverent worship. So basically he's saying that attendance at Sunday Mass cannot be replaced by virtual participation, because we know that during the pandemic a lot of churches went very virtual and everything like that. So he's claiming that Sunday is the foundation and kernel of liturgical year and everything like that. So it looks like he's asking more and more people to go back to church and everything like that. But I know even the church that meets here on Sundays in one of our classrooms, they have a virtual component because there's only a few people that can actually come to the service. So what's your take on this? Because I'm thinking this would impact everybody from the Hindus to the Jews to the Muslims to a number of others. But I do know that
that's pretty interesting, because this is a controversy that goes back more than 500 years. Where the Catholic Church says that you can really only talk to God via the church being the translator for you. You've got to go through the church. Your prayers have to go through the church. I guess you have to show up at church to talk to God. And then the reformers like Martin Luther
Right.
and who formed Lutheranism and Methodism and Presbyterian. All those people, like a lot of those Christian sects, are more recent than Catholicism, and they said you can pray directly to God.
Right.
So this is interesting because it revives an issue that has been around, since just after the frickin' Middle Ages.
Yeah, it's been around forever and everything like that. So it'll be interesting to see how this plays out and whether people are going to go back more to the churches. Because I mean, there's some very large churches, even here in North Carolina and other places, that have a massive congregation. But some of them also have the ability to go virtual if people are bedridden or whatever.
We were talking a little bit about this yesterday, where there are 2 billion Muslims, there are 2.4 billion Christians, with the largest Christian sect being Catholicism.
Right.
But nobody does what the Jews do, which is that they state the level of religiosity. You can pick it. So the Jews have Reform Judaism 200 years ago. Some people said, we've been the rituals of Judaism are keeping us from assimilating into the places where we live. So we're going to come up with Judaism light. So you can, when you join a temple, it can be Reform, which is very liberal, and the services are shorter, and it's much more secular. So you can be a Reform Jew, you can be a conservative Jew, which is middle level commitment, or you can be Orthodox, which is you're pretty much sticking to the rituals of antiquity, which is, I think, a great way to do a religion. I think other religions should offer different levels of religiosity.
Different levels, that might be good. Hey, I see that Jacoby's joined us. I got a question for him, since I've got my nephews is off to school, and the other one will be going to early college. So he'll actually both of them will be taking college courses next year and everything, this coming year and everything along those lines. But I just saw an article in Futurism. They said college kids are using AI agents to take in our entire online classes for them by basically cheating and everything like that. So I just wondered, how concerned are you about this? Because AI agents are apparently taking entire online courses for cheating students.
I think education is in a frickin' shambles right now. From middle school on up, there is chaos because everybody's using frickin' AI, and it makes it hard to test what people know. People aren't learning. There's actually a decline in IQs, in thinking skills, in reading skills, in the ability to plow through a chapter in a book and understand what you've read. Yeah, it's bad. Now, it's not necessarily, it could be just the modern way of being. I've said it before, that when wolves became domesticated into dogs, they became stupider because they outsourced their thinking to humans. Now dogs live in worlds that they don't understand at all, and they let humans do all the thinking. And so we're outsourcing our thinking to technology. And so without the tech, we're going to be like vulnerable and stupid. But we always have the tech now. So is it the worst thing in the world that without tech we're dumb little vulnerable, naked to the world and unable to understand it? I don't know. It's a change, and it seems terrible to old people like me, but is it really? I don't.
What's your take on that, Jacoby? Because I actually just saw another AI article that was a friend of mine that went to ChatGPT and basically asked to describe themselves based on what they found in the phone if they were not here and everything like that. And actually they got the description that was read back to them pretty much and nailed them to the T in terms of the things that they were interested in, their hobbies, their causes, and a number of other things as well. So it definitely nailed them to a T from what I read and everything like that. So what's your take on this notion of AI kind of like the kids becoming overly dependent on it? I mean, back in the day, we had the Cliff Notes, and a lot of us were overly dependent on the Cliff Notes. So maybe AI is the new form of the Cliff Note. But what's your take on this AI cheating?
Your voice isn't coming through.
Yeah, your voice doesn't come through. I don't know what's going on.
Oops, I pushed mute on the microphone. But yeah, it's happening, and it's just going to continue to happen. It's only going to get worse because there's no real way to stop it at this point.
I want to get Chitovi's thought on El Said. Like, so the Republicans, having nothing to run on, are running on bullshit like calling Democrats pussies. And then there's a clip of El Said from last year. He's the Democratic candidate for the Senate out of Michigan. And there's a clip of him doing reps with 315 bench press, which is a crazy thing for a middle-aged politician to be able to do.
I mean, they're going to use everything they can, any cultural war idea they're going to put out there because they know the culture wars they get picked up. People go and talk about Tallarico out of Texas, and that's what they did out there. He's not manly enough, they're using it, trying to use El Said's full name to, as code, the same way they did Barack Obama's name.
Yeah.
So it's the culture wars. They have nothing to run on. It's the Southern strategy. That is what was run on the Southern strategy. That is what Donald Trump has stayed in power on. The Southern strategy. It is all they've never run on anything outside of the Southern strategy.
So
if you look at his campaign in 2016 and the name calling and I'm doing this, and he didn't do anything. He never really put forth anything, but everybody demanded basically a detailed copy of a plan from the Democrat Party, but nothing from the Republican Party. It was just Donald Trump out there yelling and doing culture war stuff.
Yeah, and we've seen that the principle is you can get people to vote against their best interests if you get them, especially stupid people, riled up about culture war bullshit. Like right now, you've got 2 or 3 men who are threatening to call themselves women and sign up for the WNBA. And the WNBA is having some kind of meeting where they're trying to come up with a definition of woman. And that's dumb. And it's dumb. They're playing into it. They could just tell these guys to fuck off, but instead they're trying to come up with this like policy. And yeah, you're right. They're stepping into the stupid trap.
Yeah, that they just fell right into it because there is no transgender individual playing in the WNBA. There isn't a transgender individual even attempting to play in the WNBA. So you're creating a controversy because you're distracting from everything else and getting people talking about a boogeyman because, now they're playing our game. No, you don't need to play that. That's why, like I said, I get to be the oddball and people yell and that's why the other individuals don't like it when I'm on here because, hey, I'm not going to take that mess. No, Jack, you're not going to like Nick. When he plays that game, we're not playing that game.
So there's a term that sounds racist, but I don't think it is, called tar baby, which comes from Brer Rabbit. And what it is a trick that you make something that looks like a baby out of tar, which is super sticky, and then you leave it someplace, and people are like, ooh, a little baby, defenseless baby, and you run over to take care of the baby, and you pick it up, and now you're stuck to the tar baby. And all these culture war issues are freaking tar babies that if you fall for it and you pick it up, then now you've got this mess stuck to you.
So actually, the term is actual racist because it came before Blair Rabbit. It was actually created before that because of the color.
All right. I apologize for.
But no. That's where the discussion comes into play, where we talk about it. Hey, this is where it actually and stuff like that. Like, I mean, historically, there like the Mickey Mouse. Mickey Mouse of today has never really thought about it. Well, I mean, people who've seen Mickey Mouse, they think, Mortimer Mouse, where it came from and stuff like that. But it was actually a play on blackface when it originated. That was a long time ago. But, that, of course, people discussed, and that's how, Mickey Mouse of today, nobody thinks of that. But so there's history in our history is deeply rooted within a lot of racism and a lot of issues that we've never discussed. And that's what has created that division. And until we patch that division, we can't, there's always going to be a little bit of animosity because the lack of understanding and maybe having a misstep. And so having a discussion around those missteps and understanding where the history came from and just moving forward is the way to go, because that's how you come together. But either way, I say all that just to get back to, the whole falling into the trap. The fall, like you were talking about, the falling into the trap is the problem. And instead of falling into the trap, hey, just push back. Be honest. Did I say that? Is there any point? Is there any factual proof? And then even in a debate, what they're going to say. So honestly, Eminem in 8 Mile, that's the game you play. They're going to get up here and they're going to say, I'm this, I'm this, I'm this. I've never said this, but hey, they want to discuss it. Ask them to prove it. Tell them when I said it. Tell them to prove to me that I've said this. Show me with the abortion debate. My big question around the abortion debate is, it's none of my business. Prove to me that it's supposed to be my business. It's not. Whatever that woman decides, that's her choice. That's not my choice. It's not my business. So all these things, it's just, we fall into the trap and we play that game. And that's honestly what the youth movement is about. Because if you listen to the base that's out there, that youth movement, they're tired of hearing that somebody's today a communist, tomorrow a socialist, 2 days down the way, they're a fascist. So at what point are we? But it happens every time. And that's what the Republican Party is doing. And Donald Trump has played that card way too much.
For old people, it's extra frustrating because we remember a time when we were kids that the Democrats were really good at messaging. Like the yippies in the 1970s. They went some liberal activists, some yippie activists went to the New York Stock Exchange and made it rain. They threw a few $100 bills into the stock trading pit and watched all the traders go crazy. And it was just a satire on money grubbing, and it made for great footage. Since the 70s, the Democrats seem to have lost the messaging race. Sasha, you got something other than what we've been talking about?
I think you have to concentrate on the very sort of decisive message that the Democrats should bring to the election. It's economic inequality in the United States. That's number one issue. All the rest you can talk a little bit on the left side or on the right side and in the middle or so on. The one that can unite all Democrats and independents and even some Republicans is financial inequalities. Number one, nothing else matters because there would be better financial situation, so more people would be able to put bread on the table. The life would be so much easier, and with that you can look into other issues. But before you solve the inequality gap in the United States, nothing else is important. And you have to concentrate and just repeat one simple thing over and over. You don't need any other thing. You don't need all these issues about race or religion. That's all secondary. Just concentrate on economic equality, which hits everyone. It has hits all religions, religious people and anti-religious people and racists, all of
Yeah.
them. To
While
me,
you
it's
were
very
talking,
simple.
I just tweeted out, are you better off now than you were 2 years ago? This is, I think Reagan was the first one to use this as a campaign
Yeah.
tactic. Are you better off now than you were 4 years ago? Well, 2 years ago, Biden was president. We had a recovering, strong economy, and it was recovering from Trump, who fucked everything up the first time around. And it took years of Biden to kind of clean up the mess. But again, Biden sucked at messaging. So he should have been getting out in front of the people and explaining what was going on. And but he kind of hid out, and it again gave the Republicans a messaging advantage.
Well, it's just that's not what they. The Democrat Party right now doesn't understand the social media world. That's where we are now. It's an evolution. Once Donald Trump came along, that evolution really kicked in, and they've been behind.
You know, freaking Obama was great at messaging, but Obama was president from 2009 until 2017. So, I mean, we were still pretty social media-ish there, but Trump wasn't at bat yet with his, super aggressive, just flood the zone with bullshit.
But Obama is still, the reason I say the social media world, Obama was still a traditional candidate.
Yeah.
Trump wasn't. Hillary Clinton, still a traditional candidate.
Mm-hmm.
Trump again wasn't.
And
because we had COVID.
And Obama's whole deal was not losing his shit. Trump's whole deal is lose your shit in public every day.
I mean, this election, I mean, even going into, this is why a lot of the progressives and the Democrat socialists are winning, is because people are agitated with the status quo and people want change, and people are seeing that change in the individuals that can dominate and actually message better. El Said was a great messenger. Honestly, the two that just had that run or just came close in
Hong and the guy who won.
Yeah, I mean, he was just a tad bit better messenger, but she got media recognition and name recognition once she started getting on these shows and people was calling her crazy and stuff like that, and people started looking into her, and some of the stuff she was saying, yeah, sure, she had some things, but there were some things that were resonating with people. That's why she ended up so close.
Yeah, well, one thing is when you go from not being a politician to being a politician, everything you tweeted out on everything you all of a sudden becomes fair game to attack you. So, you go on podcasts like she got attacked for saying that, she doesn't like Thanksgiving. She had to backpedal on that. The Al Said, I mean, he was already running for office, but he said that football has too much toxic masculinity, even though he was a great football player, captain of his team. They're going to pick and choose, cherry pick all your stuff. And, I've been on Twitter now for, I don't know, probably 17 years. If I ever wanted to run for office, I'd be held responsible for, I'd probably put out 100,000 tweets. And, most of them jokes, but they would cherry pick. I can't run for, I mean, I could, but
you can run for office and everything like that. Hey, Rick, just really quickly, that's what Clarence Thomas was complaining about, and I am not a Clarence Thomas fan, but apparently earlier yesterday he was at a event where he was saying that he was hitting back at critics who questioned his blackness over his political views, because we know he's very conservative. So he was actually at a Hoover Institution conversation with Peter Robinson and everything like that, and he was talking about his praise of Thomas Sowell and another conservative, and he was talking about his views on school busing and whether busing wasn't always popular and all along those lines. But definitely, it sounds like he was saying that some of the same things that you're saying, that he might have had some views that were very conservative that got him in trouble, and that now people are questioning his views.
Yeah, well, people get annoyed with Clarence Thomas because he benefited from affirmative action, yet he hates affirmative action. But that's a whole separate discussion.
Oh yeah, yeah. 'Cause he said that he said Sorwell's idea when he was a Yale student in '72, saying he reflectively dismissed Black education, myths, and tragedies because he believed no, but African Americans should hold those views and everything like that. So it looks like he's a big fan.
All right, what else can we hit here that we haven't hit? Oh, I want to talk about what happens after the midterms, which is the lame duck session. So after the midterms, the Republicans probably lose the House. They maybe lose the Senate, but that happens in early November, and the new House and Senate don't get seated for 2 more months. So there's about 6 weeks of the House and Senate being in session when it's still the old guys. And so we know that in that 2 months, that 6 weeks, November and December, after the election, before the new House, they are going to try to pull some shit. And also in the next 80 days, they will try to pull some shit.
I mean, yeah, in that lame duck session, they are definitely going to shift more power to Trump. That's what they're going to try and do. Again, we already know the play. He already put Todd Blanche, his handpicked DNI, who has never had any intelligence. So they're going to shift as much power into the presidency as possible. Then on top of that, they're going to challenge the election, if not try and, we can't have an election because we're at war and so on and so forth, or China. Yeah, so we know the play is going to happen. And then if they do challenge the election, because they have Todd Blanche in that position that he's in, they're going to overturn the election. There's going to be tons of chaos this coming winter.
But so it makes the pissant, the picayune, the trivial crap that Trump focuses on is almost good news when he wants to cover sculptures in DC with gold so they're all shiny. When he wants to put his name back on the Kennedy Center, we should maybe be grateful that he's paying attention to that shit instead of really focusing on like tearing down the elections.
Well, he's focusing on that because it's a distraction. This transgender issue is a distraction because in the background, they're doing a lot of dangerous things. This is why there's stuff going on, and Sasha can tell us about it, in Ukraine and Russia. They're not going to cover here because it's easy to tell you what's going on than to actually see the actual legitimate news reports and understand what's happening.
So, Sasha, tell us, what aren't they covering? What don't we see?
Yeah,
here?
we have in 3 minutes, 4 minutes, we have Ukrainian show. You see, the problem is that it is very difficult to understand what's going on right now, today. And even if you do understand and figure all that out, tomorrow's situation could be very different from what it is today. Also, the Western media, depends who they are affiliated with, create a different picture of what it is in reality. Some of them are picturing that, Russia is all over Ukraine and they're going winners to win this war sooner or later just because of their size and their access to mobilization of people and so on. On the other hand, Ukrainians have successfully using the drones and the robots. So Russian, even if they will have 10-1 advantage, there is very little mileage they can gain out of it because they cannot make any movement ahead of time. But they have little robots that are destroying and killing everything around them. everything and everybody. So why do you say, okay, so Russia has extra 50,000 people, 500,000 people, so they will be all killed in next few days. So where is the advantage? However, Ukraine is doing devastating long-range attacks by missiles and sometimes by the weapons like missiles right into the Russian territory, up to 2,000, 3,000 kilometers away from Ukrainian borders. So the Russia is all, I've seen the pictures, that almost any place in Russia is under fire right now already or potentially, so it could be tomorrow or next week. So the situation is very fluid, and you have to really go through a lot of information channels to really figure out what's going on. Well, with that, I can say goodbye because I'm going to Ukrainian show right now.
Okay, thank you. Good weekend. So I looked it up, and Ukraine has been taking back territory, but it's not much. It's 200. They've taken back 230 square miles, which is probably less. It's probably like 1/10 of 1% of what Russia has taken from them. But at least Russia isn't gaining ground.
Yeah, I mean, and it's just, again, like Sasha was saying, yeah, whoever controls that, controls the media, controls the message.
Okay. Anything else in the last 30 seconds?
Watch teach you a lesson. I want to hear what you have to think about it.
Okay, all right, I will do that. What are we watching?